Well, the life of Reese has actually been very interesting because talking about re-looking at your own life, not only looking at reinventing YPO and what it stands for as a community, it kind of begs that you look at your own life and look at what is it that you can reinvent in your own world to make you constantly passionate, constantly enthused about life itself.
So what are you reinventing for your organization?
A lot about that. I kind of love what I do, so I kind of want to just do more. I want to do more to scale. A lot of the work that I've been doing has been maybe focused on too small a group of individuals, but it's been about proving models that necessarily can be driven to scale. So kind of the stuff that I'm looking to reinvent is maybe a different way of doing things, removing ego continuously out of the equation so that the collective good can be addressed.
So tell us a little bit more about Africa Ticken.
Well, Africa Ticken is actually an interesting organization. It started off life as a vanilla type charity. Knee-jerk reaction stuff trying to help people who were desperately in need. And we realized that wasn't sustainable. So probably about 10, 12 years ago, we took a view that we had to have an end outcome, which was to develop young children in the heart of townships using the resources, the assets that exist in those townships. So we built facilities and staffed them with local individuals and took children through a developmental journey from early childhood development, after schools youth development, career development, and then helped them to find hopefully employment or opportunities in their own businesses. So that cradle to career concept is something that we've created, and we've been running that now for about 10 years to varying degrees of success. What we've found though is that although the concept at this particular point in time, we have about 20-odd thousand individuals in the program, this is a model that necessarily can be taken to scale if in fact the penny drops with corporations, that when they think about who they want to employ, they think about investing their CSI budgets and enterprise development budgets into that development of cradle to career cycle. So rather than just simply dishing out money in one pocket, which is charity money, and then investing in your staff, as it were, with training budgets, you can in fact combine them and get an economic benefit whilst at the same time doing community good.
Now, the Minister of Finance in this year's budget announced that they're finally prioritizing early childhood development. That must have been good news for you.
It is, and it is and it isn't. I'll explain to you quickly why. It's very important that it is, that it's recognized. Up until now, early childhood development has fallen under the domain of the Department of Social Development, where we've been recipients of grants for individuals whose mean income is below a certain level. Now that it's going into basic education, the good thing is that it'll become part and parcel of the education cycle, so it's going to be integrated into a child's education. The tough part means that you've got to start revisiting the determinants that will define whether organizations receive funding and on what basis. The worry that I've often got is that early childhood development is a critical stage of a child's life where they learn passion for learning. Not just learning education, not just numeracy, literacy stuff, but learn a passion for discipline, learn a passion for respect, these sorts of values. That doesn't appear in any academic curriculum. So if you're going to build it into the curriculum, there's got to be some sensitivity as to how that's going to necessarily be done, and that it doesn't just become what I almost want to call root education, which unfortunately is one of the problems that exists in our formal education system. We haven't got enough teachers who are teaching values and principles, which is so critically necessary, particularly in the early stage of development.
Do you think that as South Africans we've done enough for education?
We can never do enough. And by the way, we never will do enough, because education is dynamic. The world around us is constantly changing. So to believe we will ever get to an end result, we never will, and we never should want to. I think what we really got to do is really think to ourselves, can we do more effectively?
Tell us about Smile as well. I mean, you
Smile
seem to be...
Yeah, Smile Foundation, I was very blessed to start in the lounge of Mandela's home some 20-odd years ago, looking after one child who required surgical intervention. We found that the skill didn't exist in the country. We brought it to the country. We found great receptivity from the local surgeons to starting a program to help children who have various forms of facial disfigurement that cannot access first world surgery, psychosocial support. And then we started to realize all the hospitals we could help benefit those organizations by looking at skills training, doing things that were outside of the norm and outside of budget abilities of a lot of the hospitals. So truly we built an organization that collaborates with now 12 state hospitals, helping children to gain access to surgical intervention and psychological support. And it's just a wholesome sort of approach to helping children who require surgery.
And what's next for you? I mean, you seem to take on every necessary philanthropic thing that comes up in society. What's next for you?
Well, the one key for me is to try and now grow both of these initiatives to scale, to try and actually impact not 20,000 individuals, but 200,000 individuals with our cradle-to-career model. And the only way we're going to do that is in partnership, in collaboration with other organizations, including state instruments, state organizations, and major corporates as employers. Within SMILE, we're developing a online social platform where peer-to-peer children who are undergoing surgery, they go through years and years of surgery, it's never just one-off operation, can in fact connect with one another, their parents can connect. We're going to make psychologists available online to families, and just to provide that sort of support network, an inspirational network, where kids can link with one another, and the families can link with one another, not as victims, but as individuals who recognize that they're unique and they're special, and if they believe in themselves, there's nothing that'll hold them back.